In every era of piracy, there's always one crew that stands above the rest, the one that gets all the attention and makes the biggest waves. Right now, in One Piece, that's the Straw Hat Pirates. But before them, it was Gol D. Roger's crew, the first and only group to reach Laugh Tale and uncover the One Piece treasure. They weren't just famous, they changed the world. Each of these legendary crews has something in common. An unstoppable trio of fighters at the core. Fans call this the Monster Trio, a name originally used for Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. But as the story unfolds, more people have started looking at Roger's crew and seeing the same pattern. So let's break down both monster trios and see what made them so powerful. Anyway, please press the like button and please subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any daily uploads. Now, let's begin. Zoro was the first person to join Luffy's crew, and he's been by his side since the beginning. Before that, he was a bounty hunter, taking down pirates for money. But his real goal was always bigger, becoming the world's strongest swordsman. Not just for himself, but to stand as Luffy's right-hand man and keep a promise he made to someone important from his past. In every major battle, Zoro usually fights the second strongest opponent, just like how he's always been right behind Luffy and the crew. Then there's Sanji. He started out as just a cook, but everyone knows he's way more than that. He's one of the strongest fighters on the crew, often seen as Luffy's left wing, just like Scopper Gaban was to Roger. But Sanji's story isn't just about strength. His past as a Vinsmoke was filled with pain, and finding a new family with the Straw Hats gave him something worth fighting for. But before the Straw Hats, there was another crew that ruled the seas, the Roger Pirates. They were the only ones in history to find the One Piece, making Gol D. Roger the first and only pirate king. He was the man who started it all, leading a crew that would go down as legends. No one knows much about his past, but what's clear is that he was just like Luffy, chasing the same dream, laughing in the face of danger, and uncovering the truth of the world. And when he finally reached the end of his journey, he became something no pirate before him ever could, the King of the Pirates. Roger's journey started the moment he met Silver's Rayleigh. He found him on a boat, asked him to join, and just like that, history was set in motion. Over the years, Rayleigh became Roger's right-hand man, the first mate of the crew and a legend in his own right. People called him the Dark King, and even now, in his old age, he's strong enough to take on admirals without breaking a sweat. But it wasn't just Roger and Rayleigh. Chapter 1139 confirmed something fans had speculated for years. There was a third member who stood beside them, Scopper Gaban. He was just as strong as Rayleigh, meaning he was nearly on Roger's level too. While he's been living in Elbaf in retirement, back in the day he was one of the strongest pirates in the world. Seeing how the Roger Pirates were structured, it's easy to imagine this is what the future holds for today's monster trio. Scopper Gaban's incredible strength was finally showcased in One Piece chapter 1140. In the previous chapter, fans saw that Luffy and Zoro wanted the key to Loki's chains. While they were ready to take the key once Gaban showed it to them, the old man didn't make it easy for them. He challenged them to take the key from him, and this small battle surely did live up to the hype. Scopper Gaban was seen playing with Luffy in One Piece chapter 1140. While the Yonko was trying to snatch the key from Gaban, he was seen casually dodging around, even when Luffy started taking things more seriously. As soon as Luffy took things more seriously, Gaban upped his game as well, and the very first shocking moment came when Scopper Gaban showed his Conqueror's HakI infusion. Using the key, Gaban was seen infusing his Conqueror's HakI into it, as was made clear by the fact that a trail of lightning was left behind. He then went on to hit Luffy with the key and slammed into him, which led to massive lightning bolts emerging from the key. When you see black lightning mixed with that buzzing sound effect, you already know what's happening. Conqueror's HakI. And that means Scopper Gaban isn't just some strong guy. He's one of the few who can wield this power. But if that alone isn't enough proof of how dangerous he is, then his skills as an axeman should make it clear. In One Piece chapter 1140, we got a small glimpse of what Gaban is capable of. He wasn't even fully serious, but the moment he grabbed his axes and unleashed a flurry of flying slashes, the battlefield changed. Those attacks tore through a massive chunk of Orust Castle. And just to put things into perspective, Rhodes' diorama was already city-sized, and that was only one part of the Underworld's castle. The place Gaban destroyed, even bigger. He didn't just damage a tower, he took it down. That kind of power easily puts him on the level of island-destroying attacks. And the craziest part? He wasn't even using HakI. Even Luffy and Zoro admitted that if they hadn't reacted in time, they would have been finished. That means Gabon's strongest moves are on an entirely different level. Right now, there's no debate Scopper Gabon is Yonko level. Even in his old age, he's still an absolute monster. But realistically, he's probably not above guys like Shanks or Blackbeard just because of how much time has passed. Now, if we're talking about Gabon in his prime, that's a different story. Back then, he would have been up there with the strongest Roger, Whitebeard, Rayleigh, and Garp. Compared to the current Yonko, there's no question that he belongs in the same tier. For now, though, Gabon has stepped away from his fight with Luffy and Zoro, but this war isn't over yet. If the Holy Knights make their move, things in Elbaf could get way more intense. Fans can only hope he jumps back in when that happens. Now, here's something interesting. Did Joy Boy have a monster trio too? One Piece follows a pattern seen in many shonen stories. History repeats itself. There's always an ancient era, a previous generation, and the current one. Right now, the world is filled with powerful pirates, but legends say the past had even stronger ones. That's where Joy Boy comes in. Even though he's been gone for 800 years, his HakI is said to be the greatest in history. No one has ever reached his level. If he was the first pirate, then it's possible he had a crew structured just like Roger's, with two powerful fighters by his side. The term Monster Trio was created by fans to describe Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji as the three strongest Straw Hats. Even though Jinbei has a higher bounty than Sanji right now, most people still see Sanji as the third strongest. This mirrors Scopper Gabon's role in Roger's crew. And this trio setup isn't just a Straw Hat thing. Many pirate crews seem to follow the same pattern. One captain with two top fighters at his side. Aside from Luffy's crew, the best example is the Roger Pirates, with Roger, Rayleigh, and Scopper forming their own monster trio. It's a system that keeps repeating, and if history really is cyclical, then maybe Joy Boy had one too. One thing that connects the Roger Pirates and the Straw Hats is that both crews are the most important of their time, and both have a direct link to the One Piece treasure. Because of this, many believe that Joy Boy also had a monster trio, since his story seems to mirror theirs in so many ways. We already know that Joy Boy was the first pirate, which means he must have had a crew. Two possible members have already been revealed, Zunisha and Emeth, but it's unlikely that these two were part of his monster trio. A more popular theory suggests that one of Joy Boy's closest allies was the legendary sword god of Wano, Shimotsuki Ryuma. He lived centuries before the main story and is considered the greatest swordsman of all time. This would make perfect sense. Luffy is essentially the modern-day version of Joy Boy, and Ryuma is an ancestor of Zoro. Since inherited will is one of the biggest themes in One Piece, it's hard to believe these connections are just coincidences. If Joy Boy had a monster trio, then some part of it may have carried on through the generations. But there's one problem. There's no clear stand-in for Sanji in this lineup. However, this could just mean that Oda is waiting for the right moment to reveal everything about Joy Boy's era. When that flashback finally happens, it'll likely show what the monster trio of ancient times actually looked like, if it really existed. Trying to figure out if Joy Boy had a monster trio is mostly speculation, but it's not something fans should dismiss so easily. The biggest argument against it is the timeline. Ryuma's exact era isn't clear. Some say he was active around 400 years before the main story, but that has never been confirmed. Looking at how some of the strongest crews in One Piece are structured, it's easy to see a pattern. Many of them follow a system where three main figures lead the group. The Straw Hats have Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. The Roger Pirates had Roger, Rayleigh, and Scopper Gabon. Even the Beast Pirates, Marine Admirals, and Whitebeard's crew follow this kind of structure. If so many of the greatest crews had a monster trio, then it wouldn't be surprising if Joy Boy's crew had one too. Anyway, please press the like button and please subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any daily uploads.